Good evening, good evening, good evening. It is that time to check your pulse with the Mpulse Summit. When's the last time you checked your pulse? Well, tonight we're not only checking your pulse, we're checking your temperature with our host, Micheline Barber, for the Mpulse Summit 2022, September 10th through the 12th in Columbia, South Carolina. So let's welcome our host, Miss Micheline Barber.
Good evening, everyone. And yes, it's Thursday. And it is Stow the Tea Thursday. Everybody asks, what is the tea? Well, I'm going to tell you, I have some amazing gentlemen that's going to be joining me right here for an amazing conversation. It's going to be about breathe. And we're telling you to suggest, tap your friend, tell them to come on in because we are going to bring you some hotness. I mean, straight out the press, things that you didn't even know about, things that you didn't even hear about. But now we are going to let you know about everybody who's joining us. Now, you see, we've been going live every Thursday, sometimes on Tuesday, sometimes during the middle of the day on a Wednesday. And everything is leading up into the Roads of Mpulse Summit in Columbia, South Carolina. And it's big on relationships. We're big on friendships. And this evening, we're big on telling you about the tea and why you should be at Mpulse Summit. So just to let a couple of people come on in, let them know, hey, it is going down in Columbia, South Carolina, September the 10th through the 12th. Now, a lot of times you ask, do you have business classes? Absolutely. Do cutting classes? Absolutely. Curling, styling, motivation, we have it. But this panel of individuals that's going to be joining me is also involved in the Power Breakfast. What is that? Our PPB. That is our early, and I didn't say PPP. PPB, that's our Power Pulse Breakfast early in the morning, talking about how to get your business even better. So I'm going to tell you the first person I'm going to bring up here is a gentleman that I absolutely fell in love with. I'm talking about from day one, A1. Him and his wife have been instrumental at Mpulse Summit, instrumental in all the things that we're doing, all the ways that we're leading. The roads are leading to nothing but success. And this gentleman is being successful and allowing and helping and assisting other people to be successful as well. So I just want y'all to join to the seat of Mpulse Summit, none other than Mr. Michael Cole.
Hey, Micheline. Hey,
Michael, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Amazing. Awesome. And so, we have to bring in your counterparts, the ones that you definitely have been made friendships with, people who you have actually touched and those who have touched your life. So we're going to bring up none other than Mr. Wendell Lockhart.
My man.
And while we get
Mr. Mike, how you doing?
That's it. 30 plus years of motivation, education, and more. But I got another sales executive, and I call him an elite sales executive as well. And this gentleman, we bonded a couple of years ago, and he's in the Columbia area and just making waves. I mean, killing the game of motivation, helping future professionals, helping the young adults, and also helping the cosmetologists that's in the areas of South Carolina and etc. So I want you all to please join forces with none other than Mr. Ed Wilson.
Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
Hey. What's up, now, ladies, I got something to tell y'all when everybody get up here. But we got one more guy that I got to bring. So y'all see I'm the only lady, so I had to put my black lipstick on and be super sexy. But I wanted y'all to make sure you all put y'all hands together for none other than Mr. Lee Oliver. I call him my right hand and my left hand because this gentleman makes us look even better than we were before. That's why I had to make sure I came correct this evening. So the T of Mpulse Summit, let's look at this. In Columbia, South Carolina, you gentlemen joined forces, right? And you gentlemen came in to Mpulse Summit, but I'm going to let them, I said your name, but tell everyone who you are and what part are you playing with Mpulse Summit 2022. I'm going to start with Mr. Michael. Go ahead, Mr. Michael.
All right. Thanks. Hey, Micheline. First, thanks for this opportunity. It's always a pleasure to be with you and these outstanding gentlemen that I'm here with. I'm humbled to be in this group of folks right here. So and especially the one and only Mr. Lee Oliver. This guy's a stud. So it's really cool to be with him today. So again, my name is Michael Cole. I live here in Daniel Island, South Carolina. I am co-owner of the Daniel Island Barbershop. So when I show up, you see my partner in crime as well, Mr. Michael Pringle, who's the manager of the barbershop. We never go one way or the other without being too far apart. So, but excited that he and I are going to have a chance to be back in Columbia at Mpulse Summit. But that's kind of just my fun job. My main job is I work with the one and only Northwestern Mutual, and I'm a financial advisor and business planner with them. And so what I'm super excited about and just ready to pour some passion into is educating our business owners and educating them on what it takes to grow their business, mitigate against risk, and while also, just in each stage of the business, right? So there's 4 stages of a business, starting with growing it, birthing it, if you will, to steal language from Micheline, yes. And then all the way to exiting the business, right? And so there's a full life cycle of the business. So we want to be thoughtful and mindful about that. And as a business owner, as somebody in the industry, I'm just super excited to have this opportunity to share my knowledge and help people grow.
So, Mr. Wendell, you're next. What is it who you are and what you're going to be bringing to Mpulse Summit?
But Mitch, I'm so excited about coming back to Mpulse Summit. Last year was phenomenal. That was my first one, and I was elated to have the opportunity to meet Lee, Mike, Ed. I mean, it was amazing last year, and me being a part of your power breakfast, it was phenomenal. I've been in the game for over 36 years and counting. I've worked in the Baltimore, Maryland market for years, and now I'm down in Athens, Alabama, reciprocating what I did in Maryland for years. One of the things that I'm looking forward to doing is coming in, continue to educate the stylists, because education is truly key. And just looking forward to the Power Breakfast and being able to help as many people as we can at the Mpulse Summit.
And I'm
so they can breathe better.
That's it. We need to breathe better. And then we have none other than Mr. Ed Wilson. And tell them who you are.
Micheline, thank you again for having me on such a phenomenal platform with such established gentlemen. I'm excited to be able to pull knowledge from you and from the gentleman tonight as we're on this call. But I'm Ed Wilson. I'm the owner and founder of UTU Enterprises. And I'm an independent sales executive in the Carolina areas, also in the North Carolina area as well. I'm just excited for Mpulse, man. I've been rocking with Mitch with Mpulse for the past 3 years. Even when COVID kind of put a damper in there, we were still able to maneuver and do some things where people still got the education, the value, and that push and that lift that they needed. I'm just excited, man, to be that gentleman that opens the door for stylists, barbers, business owners to be able to walk into such a phenomenal atmosphere with over 40-something educators, 40-something individuals with value that's going to add value not only to their business, but add value to their life. So I'm excited for just being a part. I'm excited for being a part and definitely excited to be on this call tonight.
And then we have, I call him Mr. Right Hand. He even has the Lee pay instead of split pay. We got the Lee pay. I'm talking about this gentleman is the mastermind behind a lot of things. He's instrumental in the success of Mpulse Summit from the very first day. The day I was in there crying and Lord Jesus, help me, Lord, help me. So Mr. Lee, tell who you are and what you are going to be bringing to Mpulse Summit.
Man, let me tell you, number one, I'm excited. All right, that's the first one. I'm excited to be a part of Mpulse Summit. Just seeing your vision from start to where it is right now and the trajectory of where it's going is just an amazing thing to be a part of. I'm a financial coach. I'm here in Tampa, Florida. I work with a ton of barbers and stylists and really self-employed individuals that are looking to make sure that not only they take care of their finances right now, but prepare their finances for the future. Me and Mr. Michael Cole, we work in the same realm. But, it's all love because at the end of the day, we got to make sure that we are making sure that individuals are doing what they got to do to equip themselves financially to move forward. We do what we do out of passion, but it's really centered around service like everybody in the industry is. And it's about really having significant change in people's lives. And I'm here for that. I was a trade person before. I come from a trade, so I was an electrician before I was a financial advisor, financial planner. And I have an affinity for people in trades because I know what it's like to pour your heart into a profession and then want to make sure you do the best in that profession. Right. And that's what I see in the beauty industry. And that's why I'm just excited to be around all of these individuals, soaking up knowledge, whether it's from a distribution side with Mr. Wilson and Mr. Lockhart, or if it's from a professional brother side with my man, Mr. Cole here. It's obviously a pleasure to be here.
So I was writing down a couple of things, and as I'm listening, Lee, one of the things that you said is that both you and Mr. Michael do the same similar things. Now let's look at this industry, and I know Ed can talk about it, and Wendell can also come in there. With so many salons, so many barbershops, so much amazing talent, so much skill, do we find that it's still enough, or, is it they doing the same thing? What is it that you feel now that not just Mpulse Summit, but period, that people need to reach out even more and say, hey, even though Lee and I, we do the same thing, similar things, whatever it is, y'all are still, still educating people and taking them to another level, along with Ed and Wendell going in different salons. And I have a question for Wendell in a minute about moving. Mr. Michael, what do you feel about that? What is that you see the missing piece that people don't realize about, hey, it's not a competition. We do the same things, but we all touch people's lives differently, but people still are crying y'all name. Lee, they still saying Michael, they still saying these names, but yet y'all still was in classes, in the same room, doing the same talking, the same language, that y'all had a different style. What is that about?
So I'll say a few things because you can't shut me up most of the time. So the first thing to say is I don't have enough time in the day to educate everyone on everything that needs to be educated on. So having myself there, I come at it with a certain window, a certain viewpoint. I'm really focused on business ownership. Lee's coming at it. I sat through some of his class last year, and just really impressed with the way that he was educating people, and he just took a slightly different approach. And so when folks come to my barbershop, if they're not happy with one of the barbers, I say, well, perhaps you need to find a different barber, because as you know, if between the barber or the stylist and the client, if they don't communicate well, if they naturally just don't communicate well, then they're not going to get the haircut they want. Well, as a financial advisor, if I don't naturally sync with somebody, that's not necessarily my fault. That's not their fault, right? It's just, we're just not the right personality matches. So, hey, go work with Lee, right? Mm-hmm. Because maybe he's the right match for you. Maybe he's going to give you the haircut that you need, right? So there's, like, in this world, anytime I meet with somebody and I find out they're working with someone, first I say, congratulations, right? Excellent. I am so glad to know that you're taking those steps and moving in the right direction. There's nothing but love in this profession, just like in y'all's profession as well. There's nothing but love and respect for each other, and knowing that licensed people are putting forth good work, right? Just like Micheline, you're licensed as a stylist, just like my barbers are licensed to be barbers. I'm licensed to be a financial advisor. Lee's licensed to be a financial advisor. So when you go get your haircut, you want it from somebody who's licensed. And then when you come talk about your finances, you want to be with somebody who's licensed, right? So I love those I'm licensed check shirts, right? I need one of those. Licensed to give you really good advice. Same with my man Lee too. He gives phenomenal advice, and I love his passion.
And so that had to be something there. I'm gonna go with what you say. You said it on Lee's class. One thing about a true person who's into education, most people walk out and be like, listen, I don't want to hear what he got to say because I'm saying the same thing. Lee, the pressure point of people coming into the class and knowing they're talking the same language, but you still being sincere and passionate about your knowledge. How is that when people feel like, oh, I better not go in that class, or I better not take that class, and I know Ed and Wendell can contest to who's teaching the class before they even come. You want to learn? We're going to talk about that in a minute. But sitting in the class, Lee, and knowing that you all are doing that, Mr. Michael is there, and you said it on his class because I seen you, because I have pictures, I sit on the floor and everything. I watch everything. What is that about people not wanting to get the information, whether you get a little bit from here, you get a little bit from there. What is that feeling like when it comes to the financial world and people in the beauty industry? Because you go to a lot of barbershops. You'll think Lee was in the beauty industry for real, but he's not. He goes in barbershops. He goes taking pictures with people who just opened up their salon. He's encouraging people to come to classes. Lee, what keeps that passion knowing that, okay, there is an elite educator sitting in my class right now, that you want to keep going and let everybody know, hey, even though you're a elite educator, you need to come to Mpulse Summit to learn something? What is that?
So I think it really plays back to some universal truths that are always going to be true. The fundamentals are always going to be the fundamentals. And it doesn't matter who's saying them. It doesn't matter how they're saying them. As long as they're saying the fundamentals right, you're going to get what you need to get from whoever you're sitting in front of. The language might be a little bit different. The way we, explain things might be a little bit different. But as long as the fundamentals are there and you're progressively moving towards a goal that you have, you are going to be okay. And I look at this even in the industry where we look at Mpulse Summit, where we got a roster of people doing color, right? We got a roster of people in business, and we got a few people that are doing braiding. So we have all those different sects and we have all those different types of people, but the fundamentals are still the fundamentals. When you get with a professional who has the fundamentals on lock, you're always going to have a good learning experience. And I think that when I look at it, I know my fundamentals, but there's things that I'm always learning. The reason why I'll sit in Michael's class is because I need to learn how to be the best person I can be for my clients. And it's not because Michael's better than me or I'm better than him. It's just that I don't know everything. And I might have trouble explaining something a certain way that he's explaining, like, okay, I can use that when I explain it now. I can do this, I can do that. And I think when it comes to your point, when you're talking about people that are like, who's the educator first, before I come to who the educator, like with that, you have to have a spirit in your heart of, I'm going to learn from everybody that's there. I don't care if I've seen them before. I don't care if I've seen a live, because seeing a live or seeing something on live is not like in person. People are going to ask different questions. And sometimes people ask questions out of left field that really make that educator work. Yeah. And that's when you really get the learning going. So I love that aspect of it. And I think that we have to make sure that we're keeping the fundamentals, and understanding that every elite educator, every person involved with the summit comes with that core fundamental basics that they know what the hell they're doing. And they're going to get it out in their way, but they know they got the fundamentals on lock. And I think that's one of the things that you always make sure that you got people that are fundamentally sound, but can also bring the flavor.
Right. And so Ed and Wendell can both, add to this, because with them being sales executives, they're always going out and either, selling a product or educating people on what's the latest thing that's out there. Hey, if I was you, I would come to this barber class. If I was you, Ed, and I'm going to start with you, Ed. How is it now that you hear Mr. Michael, you hear, Lee talking, and you've been involved in Mpulse Summit, nights I've cried to you as well. Oh, please pray for me, Ed, please. How does it feel that you now, when you go in there, you speak to different educators or you speak to different stylists and barbers? What's that temperature, the temperature out in the field now that people say, you know what? I don't know. I don't know about education. I'm at this point in my life now. What is it that you can encourage someone to say, listen, you at this point, but, and I've heard you actually talk to people about that. If somebody come to you and they are at a time and period in their life where they feel like they can't, what is that thing that you tell them that they can do?
Well, the biggest thing for me, Mitch, and it has always been this since I got in the industry, relationship. Relationship for me is key. So at the end of the day, because we build that relationship, it's like a family-oriented relationship. So walking in the door, it's like you can almost feel the pulse. Like you say, you can feel the pulse of Mpulse. You can almost feel the pulse of what's going on in that individual life because of the relationship. So when you walk in the salon and that they're not smiling, they're not chippery like they were last week, something is going on. And so with everything that's happening now in the world, with so many different, COVID and still here and this and that, and it's so much. But at the end of the day, with that relationship, my biggest thing going in to let them know, and this is my abbreviation for breathe. You're talking about being revolutionized enough through healing. Being revolutionized enough through healing. 48 educators, over 40 educators. You don't have no other choice but to be healed in your business, healed in your mind, healed in your emotions, healed with strategic planning. Some people don't even understand what's happening right now in their business, realistically, because they don't have the things in order that Mr. Mike offered. They don't have the things in order that my man offered. Lee offered. They don't have those things in line. But because of the relationship that Mr. Wendell and I have built with clients, we can walk in the door and say, hey, man, Mpulse is going to offer you this, this. How can you not go? How can you not lock in? How can you not want to take your business to the next level? Revolutionize yourself. Get healed going to this event, because I'm sure that there's going to be some healing taking place with everything that we're dealing with now. Go ahead and revolutionize yourself. So just the relationships for me. The relationships for me is key. The understanding for me is key. And then also for the people that are on the fence, understanding the value that this is going to add to your business, understanding the value that this is going to add to you as an individual. So I'm like Lee, man. I'm super excited. I'm super pumped. Let's go, man. Let's go.
Speaking of relationships, because I built a relationship with you all, and the longest relationship I had on here on this screen is Mr. Wendell, 30 plus years. And he could tell you I was that way 30 years ago, 15 years ago. I am who I am right now. And so, Mr. Wendell, you've always flew me to your areas to do Baltimore, to do your hair shows, your trade shows. And you call me and say, hey, Mitch, I'm interested in doing this. What is it now that you can say, what caused you to be so big on education? And like Ed said, the relationship that you have built with the individual that you come across, they believe in you. Like I've seen you with 200 plus people in the seats by yourself, you know what I'm saying? And your team. So how does that feel about the relationships for you and telling people, because they believe whenever you say something, when do they believe you?
Well, I mean, piggybacking off what Ed said, it's all, for me, it's all about the relationship. Once you build that rapport and relationship with your client, they will follow you to the moon and back, because they trust and believe in you, and they realize that you're not going to direct them in the wrong direction. And like Ed said, you can walk into a salon, I can walk into a salon and know if that heartbeat is off with that client. And it's my responsibility to make sure I get his or her heartbeat right back on. So it's all about that relationship. And education is truly the key, because Mitch, that's what we were brought up on. Education. If you can have all the money in the world, but you don't have the education behind how to handle that money, manage your business, you at zero.
Yeah.
You at zero. So it's important that they get what Lee is teaching, what Mike is teaching, and when me and Ed come into the salon, what we bringing to you. For me, I tell them in a minute, buy the mission statement that I'm preaching to you and just use the product. Buy the mission and use the product. Mpulse Summit, you got over 40 different educators that's gonna be there. That's gonna house down. Don't miss it.
All right. I think you hit the button or something. Turn around, Mr. Wendell. Mr. Wendell preaching, and we can't hear. You got to turn around. Turn your camera around. I'm gonna ask you this question here while Mr. Cole, I'm calling everybody name. Mr. Wendell, get back on, turn it back around. So when you're looking at this, right, Michael, and he said a couple of things, and I'm gonna ask you this, and I'm gonna ask all of you all. If I say I can't, I want you to finish that sentence. When somebody came to you and said I can't, what's some of the I can'ts that you've heard?
The number one I can't is I can't have discipline, right? At the end of the day, you find success through the daily habits that make you successful, right? And everyone wants like the major prize, like hey, here's the one home run. Well, it's not the home runs that win and as being a business owner. Like that's just the extra points. What wins is the singles and the doubles, right? And so it's discipline. And so I'm going to say something that's going to challenge some people, Micheline. Are you ready for this? You may get some.
Look, I'm getting ready to write my notes. Go ahead.
Okay, so here it comes, and I'll share the hate mail with anybody. It's all right. So don't try to live like you have a certain amount of wealth when you don't actually have it. Because, I mean, it's math, y'all, right? And so when I hear people say, I can't do it, I say, well, let's look at your cash flow. Wait, your priorities are where you put your money. So if you want to have a business, if you want to build a business, let's put our money towards building a business, not towards a Mercedes. Right? Do you want to look rich or you want to be rich?
Wow. Okay.
Boom. Mic drop. I'm out.
You dropped that mic. You dropped that mic. I don't know who want to pick it up. Who want to pick it up? Liam or
I guess it's still hot. It's still hot, but I'm gonna pick it up. All right. So a can't that I get is, I can't save. And it kind of goes into what Mr. Cole said, and that comes to cash flow 100%, but it also comes into something that I think is a building block, which is tracking. A lot of times, and this is a constant that I get in the industry, people don't track their money. So it starts with that. You can't save, but you can't save because you're not tracking your money. You don't know how much money you have. If you knew how much money you had, you would be saving it. But since you don't know how much is there, it's an issue. So the I can'ts when it comes down to saving money is really an issue of tracking, knowing your numbers. And I know Mr. Michael Cole can appreciate this. If you're going to be a business, if I was going to buy your business, and I ask everybody this, if I'm going to buy your business, how are you going to evaluate it for me? Show me your books. Because if I can't come into your business and you can't show me what you've been making, how do I know? How do you know how much to sell it to me for? How do you know how do you know how if I'm gonna lowball you or I'm gonna give you the right thing? So the fundamental of just tracking your money, first and foremost, gets past a lot of those I can'ts, and it breaks down a lot of those barriers when it comes down to money. It's an issue that we don't know how much is there. So we're not, and we can't be disciplined. And the last thing that I'll say is when it comes to I can't save money in the industry, when you come from a W-2 type of job and you're completely 1099 right now, well, that's not true. Because you can save money. You used to save money every single week when they held your check for you for 7 days or 14 days. So it's not that you can't do it. You choose not to do it because you see the money every day. So you already have it in you. You're just forgetting where you came from and going back to the fundamentals again. So I'm gonna drop the mic there too.
Okay, who want to pick it up? Because it's still hot. We got the tea tonight. Ed, what is the I can't that somebody had came to you? People on Facebook saying, "Yup, navigate your money." They's having a whole bunch of comments right down the other end. But Ed, what is the I can't that someone has came to you about that we're gonna stop the I can't and turn it to a can?
Well, for me, there's so many, but because we're on Breathe tonight, we're talking about Mpulse Summit. One of the things I would say is I can't see the value in that. I can't see the value in that. How can you not see the value in over 40 elite educators? Then I have to ask them the question to change that can't. What's the vision for your business? What's the vision for your business? The great Miles Monroe said, sight is what you can see. It's in your eyes. Your vision is in your heart. The word of God says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So whatever's in your heart, whatever you're passionate about, you'll find a way to make it happen. And if you're seeing it in your eyes, if you're looking at that $3.99, that $4.99, whatever the case may be, and you're banking off of that, you don't see the value in your business, because Mpulse Summit is going to add value to your business. So at the end of the day, are you looking to do this thing with your heart, have a vision for your business, are you looking at the now? So many of us get caught in what's happening right now. What about my future? What about your kids' future? What are you leaving? Generational wealth. You can get a product line through somebody at this Mpulse Summit or give you a blueprint how to make your own product line. Somebody at Mpulse Summit can give you a blueprint of how to start your own wig line, how to start your own braiding company. There's so much information that's going to be obtained and giving at Mpulse Summit. How do you not see the value?
Right.
Are you being revolutionized enough through healing?
Say that. Dope. I mean, that's dope. I mean, I'm sitting here like, true. Mr. Wonder, pick it up because it's hot. What is the I can't that you've heard? Like, I can name, like Ed said, a whole bunch of I can'ts. Right?
Well, I mean, when they start hollering I can't, I said can't. But like you said, drop the T and say I can. And with the type of educators that you got coming to Mpulse Summit, the question that I asked them, are you running your business or is your business running you?
Oh, that's good.
That would hurt right there.
When I asked them that question, it makes them think. Because at the end of the day, I tell them, I said, look, $3.99, like Ed said, $4.99, what it is, look, you can get 20 customers to give you an extra $20 and you there. 20 customers, $20. Say, Miss Jones, I want to go to Mpulse Summit. Would you donate $20 to further my education? That's all I need. 20 people, $20 will get you to Mpulse Summit all day, every day.
You can't beat it.
So there's no excuse, and they got plenty of time. To sit down, plenty of time to get 20 customers to give them $20.
Well, you know what? We get ready to bring up another reason why they need to be there. When it says the can't, we, the team, put together where they have no excuses. So we turn they can't into a can, and we're going to show you how.
There you go.
Now, as we're coming in, right, there's so many people who are saying, what can...
Life doesn't wait. Why should you?
It could be seen as the modern-day lay-by in an age of convenience. A small Australian company, Afterpay, offers a buy now, pay later scheme, and it's rapidly gaining ground.
Afterpay is a service for customers to allow them to buy life's little luxuries and necessities and spread their payments over time in 4 installments. Afterpay takes on all of the risk that the customer may not pay us back in the future, etc. So from a retailer's perspective, it's risk-free.
Afterpay also approves customers instantly.
We don't do external credit checks in the traditional sense, but we have a very sophisticated set of systems and rules which looks at the integrity of that particular transaction. It's not a credit product because we don't charge any interest to the customer and we don't lock them into any upfront fees or administration charges.
So far, retailers are enthusiastic about the service, which has proved great for customers who are good at budgeting and understand the risks.
And that's what we call no excuses right there, right? It's like Afterpay. And I'm going to say this. When I was first introduced to Afterpay, a young lady was telling me, oh, you know, Micheline, if you really want those shoes, just put on Afterpay. And I'd never heard of Afterpay. I'd never heard of, you know, all this other stuff. And I said, well, if I think about the Afterpay, I'm going to use it for something that's going to help me after the payment. That makes sense. I'm not going to use it for a pair of shoes because I'm going to walk out of those. But I will use it for my education, for my products that's going to help me make more money. Like Ed says, somebody you can meet to help me, you know, because I'm already signed up for a class for a young lady that when Mpulse Summit is over, I sat on a class in New York that I end up signing up with her because I'm going to bring in something new for the new year, right? So, Mr. Michael, how hard is it when you come in now? You're in the beauty industry. You've been in the beauty industry now with barbershops, and you can say, you know, whether it's been easy, hard, you know, whatever it is. Think about what made you start out wanting to own a barbershop and combine your your, money, look at him laughing already, your money management with your barbershop?
Yeah,
shop?
that's a great question. And I'll be completely honest. I came into this industry totally blind, and my business partner and I were having a conversation after church one day, and God has a way of making things work for you, right? And we said, you know what, we live in Mayberry, but there's no Floyd's barbershop. And we're like, well, why isn't there one? And so it was opportunity. And so y'all gonna laugh. I went to Amazon and bought a book on how to open a barbershop.
Not laughing. It's good.
So, I mean, literally, and then through the power of relationships and connections that I have, I met my outstanding manager, now one of my dearest, closest friends, like a brother from another mother, Mikey Pringle. And he consulted with us through the process. So I knew that I didn't know much, but I knew there was something there. And so I went and found, and this is where I think this gets really relevant to what we're talking about. I went and sought out the expertise that I knew I needed to achieve the dream.
Yes.
And so I knew that I needed somebody who had expertise in the industry. And the good Lord brought Mikey in our lives, and he's family now, his whole family's family. And so we're blessed to be here, and we're blessed to have it. We've been open this month. It's 5 years, which is incredible to think about. Awesome. So it's awesome. We survived COVID, and a big part of that was we made some really smart decisions, and we made some sacrifices early on, because we didn't know what it was, but we knew at some point along this journey, there would be a hiccup. Right. And so we knew that we had to mitigate that risk. And so we had to have the resources set aside to do that. And so, Micheline, so what I'm so stinking excited about, in case y'all can't feel my passion, it's flaming hot right now, right? Is I'm excited about helping people think about not just the moment, right? Because it's so easy in this industry, I believe, I'm going to go to work, I'm going to cut X number of heads, and then I'm going to go home, and I'm going to get up and do it the next day. But if you don't take a moment to come out of the grind, come up for air and breathe, then you're not going to be able to envision what's possible for you. And so I'm excited to share my vision. I'm excited to share my passion and my knowledge. And I'm even more excited about the people who are going to come and hear from me, hear from Lee, but also hear from all of the amazing educators. They're going to be talking about all sorts of topics that are going to help them grow their business, whether it's product related, skill related, business related, whatever that is, or just shaping meaningful relationships where you can seek out the advice you need to help you grow, right? So I'm super pumped about that, and it can't get here soon enough.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I was writing down something here, and I'm gonna ask you all this, okay? So you talked about earlier, rich people don't look rich, right? TD Jakes just said that 2 weeks ago. He said, rich and wealthy people don't wear it on their back, right? That was what he said. And then I also was reading when somebody said, well, I've been told, and y'all know, Wendell, we came from the word and Ed, you don't ever use the word slow, because that puts it in your mindset. So somebody had wrote down, do you not know that the months that start with J are considered the slow months? Have y'all ever heard of that? The months that start with J in our beauty industry, it considered the slow months. And I know Wendell have, what Mr. Della always said, there's no such thing as a slow day. Have you ever heard of that? And if somebody put that in mind, okay, we got January, we have June, we have July, right? People say in the beauty industry that's the months, that's the slow months. Who wants to take the mic and pick it up right now?
Well, I'll jump on that from two perspectives. I'll talk about it because I hear people say that kind of stuff in my industry. Yes. And I also hear people say that inside, the beauty industry as well. And that's a mindset. If you want to speak that over yourself, then you're going to realize that, right? So, every opportunity is an opportunity to grow. It's a function of, do you prioritize that growth, right? And if you're going to sit around and wait for people to come up to you, then you're going to have a slow month. If you're going to take that moment and be aggressive and get after it and find the people to come to you, then it's not going to be a slow month. It's what you make it be.
let's think about this though. Within the months of COVID, I know you have something to say too, Mr. Wonder. During the months of COVID, you did nothing, but you still sustained. God still provided. But now we're back behind the scenes, behind the chair. So now people are saying, oh, and I, on here, Tori, said there's no such thing as slow days. Mr. Wonder, what you feel about that? And I see Ed, he got it, he ready, ready to jump in. Go ahead, Mr. Wonder.
Well, Mitch, like our training was what? Is no such thing as a slow day. You just slow that day. And also, when the customer starts saying, when it's been real slow this week, it's been slow. I said, what's been slow? I said, because long as I've been living and knowing, Sunday through Saturday come every single week. It don't miss a week. So how you gonna say the week been slow and Sunday through Saturday come every week? I said, it's your, like Mike just said, it's your mentality from Sunday through Saturday. And if you're in the salon and you don't have no clients on the book, why you not out promoting your business? Why you not out getting people? I said, because there's no such thing as a slow week or a slow day. You're just slow that day. And so, like Mike said, it's the mentality that we've already put in our mind. See, they don't realize when you put things start in the subconscious mind, come to the conscious, come to reality. Mm-hmm. And so your subconscious mind never sleep. So you got to be careful of what you put in your mind because it stays there. That's it. And see, people don't realize you are where you are right now in your life because that's a thought that you have put in your mind. And they don't realize that. So everything starts in the subconscious, come to the conscious, come to reality. I like it.
Ed, go ahead, Ed, ready to jump in. Go ahead, Ed. I can always tell when you got something to say. He put his hand on.
When you asked that question, I immediately went to a conversation that I had with a client today. And this is what she was talking about. July is always a slow month, da 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 da. And I said, hold on. What are you speaking? And y'all know me. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. Absolutely. You're going to have the life what you speak. You're going to have what you say. So that's why I'm still so excited about Bree, because it goes back to being revolutionized enough through healing. Your mind has to be healed first before you can do anything. Your mind has to be healed first. Your mind has to be in the right place before anything else can move. Because you can sit here right now on your feet or whatever the case for me, and your body can be as tired as it can be. But if you know you're mentally strong, you're going to say, hey, I got to get up and go do this thing. So how do you revolutionize yourself? You revolutionize yourself by coming to Mpulse Summit, getting with somebody like Mike, getting with somebody like Lee, that's going to help you understand. That's why it's called a savings. That's why it's called a mutual fund. That's why you have so many things in place that even at a slow time, you can tap into that. If that's what you want to say. Oh, it's slow. Well, if you're saying it's slow, tap into something that you already saved in. Tap into it. Don't take the whole thing, but tap into it. But if you never know, then you'll never have anything to tap into. So that's why you got to lock in with Mpulse Summit, because it's going to be so many people teaching how to revolutionize your business, how to revolutionize your income. And if you're sitting around and no clients are coming in, how are you revolutionizing yourself in your salon? Work on a mannequin, play in some color, put some specials out there. That's so much that you can do to help those people that may not be coming in your door. And they may not have the money. They may not have the money that's going to tap into the price that you were charging. Hey, we built a relationship. You've been a great client. This is what I have going on for the month of July. You still have income coming in. It may not have been the same income that you had coming in the previous month, but you got income coming in. Yeah. So how do you revolutionize your mind? Would be my question.
And I was reading what Jada just said, consistency. And I talked about that last night on the podcast. Staying consistent, that steady flow, then you don't see that. Because if you already said, I know with this amount of people, I'm going to be doing this. She said, oh, it ain't slow over here. It's all about consistency. It's about relationship. Book clients ahead of time, pray and prepare. Exactly. And so as Lee, as you're talking and you've been with me in the salon and you've been with me, putting boxes together and hanging lights, you done did some of everything. one thing, and I'm gonna say this, asking you about me and the person that you have begun to know how I am. I'm very passionate. When I put my head in something, everybody know I'm going head first. I bump my head and I keep what's going on, keep going. You know what we do to put the passion into Mpulse Summit. You know, whether we ask Ed, who do you think, or, you know, Wendell coming down, or hey, how's the Power Breakfast? And we're going to talk about that in a minute, because our sponsor of the Power Breakfast is at the top of the screen here. But Lee, being around me and knowing that, you know, in every aspect, when I put my mind to something, I'm going to put my all in it. And that's why I love for you to be around me, because you're that same way as well.
So, you know, seeing the journey and seeing everything that you've done and your passion for it, it's a testament to what the summit has already blazed the path in doing. It's the reason why we attract so much amazing talent. People like Michael Cole, people like Ed, people like Wendell, people that have just fed into the summit without necessarily knowing this thing, even from year one, where like, well, you doing something? Okay, well, I'm coming.
Yes.
Well, whatever it is, I'm coming. And it's because people know you. And I think that it's, whenever we talk about what you can get from the summit and what you could have, it's understanding the direction of the summit and what's cloaked completely over the summit as a whole. And it's that spirit, it's that passion, it's that drive. And that I see exude through every educator that comes through our doors, from me to Michael to everybody that's been here. We see that passion. We see people out there giving just a little bit more. People hanging out in the classes like, okay, well, hold on. Well, now come to my table. I'm gonna give you a little bit more. You know, it's all of that. That passion just exudes throughout the whole summit, and that's one of the reasons why I'm still locked in. That I'll stay locked in, and I'll be with this thing till the wheels fall off in some capacity, because I want to be near that passion, because it's not just us in the room educating on what we're educating on, but it's what you can get from us and take back to where you're going. And it might not even be the message that we're saying. It might not be about finances. It might be a way that we project. It might be, you know, a spirit that we have. It might be something other than that. But since the whole place is covered in it, you're going to get a little bit on you. So that's what I can say from the start.
So we definitely pray for everyone that comes every morning, 6:45 a.m. And Mr. Michael, you know, that was your first year with us last year. This year you said, hey, Micheline, French, I want to have a meeting with y'all. I got something to talk about. I said, Lord, are we in trouble? You know, this man don't play. But, you know, you called us and said, hey, I want to be the sponsor of the Power Breakfast. What made you do that? Because, again, we met, had a conversation. Michael, you know, he was the one that said, I think you need to speak to Mr. Michael, Micheline. I think y'all will make a good team. And now, you know, you had a meeting. Soon as Mpulse Summit was over, you know, I was still a little weak. He was like, hey, I need a meeting with you. I was like, yes, sir. I got up out of bed. I'm like, yes, sir. What we need to talk about. What made you believe in Mpulse Summit? Because Ed is a believer. Ed has been a believer. He's, you know, go around. Young lady told me, I think yesterday, Ed was telling me about it. So what made you come in and say, I am now a believer of Mpulse Summit and I want to be the sponsor for the Power Breakfast?
Well, Micheline, I'll say this. I was a believer from the first time I met you and Frenchie, right? I knew right out of the gate from that first interaction that these are people that I wanted to be part of my life, right? And so I knew right out of the gate, again, back to relationships. And you know, when you're talking to the right people, the spirit moves in you and you know that you're talking to the right people. And so Elizabeth and I just really enjoyed that initial conversation with y'all, and our energy and excitement about it just grew. And it came together September of last year, and we all got to meet in person, and we fought through the trials and tribulations of COVID and kind of everything else. And just, you know, I was blown away, like, you know, day one to have standing room only in the first class that I taught. I mean, that I was blown away by that. And so, you know, I am an extreme extrovert. And so I get my energy from being with other people and their energy. And so being in that classroom and feeling the energy and the passion of people who were there to learn and to grow just fed into it. So coming back to Mpulse Summit and being a part of it and investing more into it was a no-brainer for me, right? I mean, that was a no-brainer. And I felt like from the business side of the education side, I felt like the power breakfast was the integral cog that pulled all of the business education together.
Yes.
I mean, you had people up on the stage together who had different perspectives, different goals in their business education classes, but answering questions together and coming at it from different angles. And I was like, these are my people, right? And this is where I'm supposed to be. And if it's not obvious, I'm super passionate about education. It's my favorite part of the job. If I can make $1 million a year just educating people, I would certainly do it.
And you know what I love is that if everyone has not noticed anything on the screen, everybody talk about faith and they talk about God. And this is a faith-based summit. I always tell people, if you don't want to hear about him, you might not want to be there, because he's in the building from the beginning to the very end till we walk out that door, and he gonna jump on you. You know what I'm saying? He gonna jump in you. So if you definitely want your life change, your business change, this is the place to be, because I'm telling you, even last year, the end was the beginning for me. The end was the beginning for me, because we started off again. The young ladies like, "Oh, people gonna be there at 6 o'clock in the morning for the power breakfast." I said, "Watch this," and they were there. Faith came with, our pastors. That was a done deal. We almost didn't go to class, and then at the end, when Ed came out from the corner, and just all of us it was so many things that spirit was just jumping. If you seen him, he was in that building. He was all around, and I'm telling you right now, people are still changing their lives even right now from when they left from last year. So September is still shifting through the whole atmosphere of the industry. And we got the cream and green, which you are a tier 3 sponsor. We have the white and blue, all white with a hint of blue this year. That's going to be at the gala. That's going to be pretty dope. We have our groomers that's going to be over that. So I'm super excited. So I think people need to see, who have not seen, about what we have at Mpulse Summit. As you said, Ed, save yourself first. Put that thing on you first before you can save someone else. That mask on you when you are on there. All we saying is, if you got to come by yourself, come by yourself. If you got to bring know I can't do nothing but smile every time I see that. Look, all y'all came back on screen smiling because we had such an amazing time. We had the competition that was the best dress of the males last year. I think my daddy won that. But anyway, we had the best dress of the males. And we had the hostess of the mostest, Miss Tamika and Mr. Chris Vine, that kept it held down. And this year we stepped it up even more. Again, I'm telling you, entertainment. We have Mr. Deshaun V that I'm going to be in South Carolina with him. I leave on Saturday. His event is Saturday evening, so I'm super excited about that. And then we have Janelle Seeley and none other than Mr. Jerome Dumate that's going to be doing it. We got some surprises as well for that. So y'all know how we do it at Mpulse Summit. It's always something that we take into a whole nother level. So I'm just going to say this is our final word for this evening, the drop the T, turn over the mic to somebody else. Final word, starting with you, Mr. Michael Cole.
Be there.
I like it. And people love you on the screen. They love you on the screen. Mr. Ed.
Breathe. Being revolutionized enough through healing. You can't go nowhere else, man, and get over 40 elite educators. Listen to that word, elite educator. You can't go nowhere else and get an atmosphere of energy, enthusiasm, knowledge, wisdom, insight, value. You can't go nowhere else and get that, man. What's his name? E.T. say, how bad do you want to breathe? No, how bad do you want to grow through breathing at Mpulse Summit?
That's something. Who want to pick that mic up? Because that's hot. Mr. Wonder.
I would say,
okay.
I'd say faith. A lot of times when we're looking through the lens of a monetary decision that we have to make, we make those decisions based on faith, what we believe the value that we're going to get for a service, whether it's in the industry or outside the industry. When we sit into that stylist or that barber's chair, we have faith that they're not going to jack us up for the money that we're going to give them. And understand that when you put yourself out there on faith, God's going to return whatever your seed is tenfold. And it might not look monetarily right away. It might be in the person that you grow to be because you were in that environment. But I can guarantee you that you're going to get more in it than what you're going to pay to be there. Relationships are priceless. And we've said that a lot here. But those relationships that you'll make here will be priceless for your continued growth in the industry. So have faith that when you come, you're going to get what you need to get to make it worth your while and then some.
Micheline, can I dogpile on what my man Lee said here real quick? He churned a thought, and I just had to say this, is that Micheline and her team have done a wonderful job of bringing in some great sponsors, AT&T, Northwestern Mutual, Brain Cocky, all these folks. And they're not only just there for their own growth, right, for their own business, but they're already investing in you before you show up.
That's it.
Right. And so all these sponsors who are pouring into this summit are investing in you already. They're reducing the cost for you to be there. They're facilitating an event that is going to be not only educational and spiritual and moving, it's going to be a heck of a good time.
Yes.
Right. And so all these wonderful sponsors, and I want to raise my hand for that one. I'm patting myself on the back a little bit, but I am investing in all of the people that are going to be there at this show. So come take advantage of that. Don't leave this opportunity on the stage. Be there.
And we love you for that. Yeah. Mr. Wendell?
Well, all I'm going to say, piggyback off what they said, don't delay. Sign up for Mpulse Summit today.
That's a whole commercial. And I'm going to say for the final word, thank you all for believing in Mpulse Summit. Thank you all for being instrumental in the success of others, the success of seeing people grow. The passion that you all have is exuded on the screen, and people can feel it. And if you can't, there's something wrong with you. You better check your post, because on the screen here is 4 gentlemen that want people to win. And AT&T has joined. Hello, everyone. This is the visionary founder of Mpulse Summit in Columbia, South Carolina. I just want to take this time out to give a special thanks to one of our title sponsors. and that is AT&T. We want to thank them for not only believing in Mpulse Summit, but breathing with us even more. So we see you in September, the 10th through the 12th, for Breathe 2022.
New customers get our best deals on all smartphones.
That's right. But what if I'm already a customer?
Oh, no problem.
Hey, Cam.
Same deal.
Yeah, it's kind of our thing.
Oh, it's a great deal. What if I'm new to AT&T?
Cam, can...
Nice.
Hey, but what about for existing customers?
Same deal.
Is he okay?
It's not complicated. With AT&T, everyone gets our best deals on every smartphone.
So truly, this has been a power hour. Exactly 10:04. We got on at 9:04. Look, we did it in 1 hour, and we did it with you amazing men. So I say stay tuned right here for next Thursday. It's going to be... Yeah, you could have finished playing that because we talk about the influences right there, right? That's deep. So you can go ahead and play about that. We definitely have 4. So we definitely have our influencers. That's Sharkeisha, Brandy, along with Jada, and we have Marcia. So again, September is where it's at. Mr. Wendell said it, Lee said it, Ed said it, and Michael said, don't meet us there, but they got to do what?
Beat us.
Beat us there.
All right, we'll see you next Thursday.